Before we begin, I just want to apologize for the irregularity of my videos and streams lately. I'm currently dealing with COVID, so please excuse my stuffy voice, and recently I managed to herniate my disc in the gym while working out. So just be careful, all of you, and keep safe. It's not fun when something bad happens, trust me. With that out of the way, I wanted to make a sort of speculative video today. This isn't confirmed or canon or anything, but I think the theory might hold some weight, which is why I want to discuss it with you. The possibility of the player, meaning us when we play the games, actually being Aonir. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. What do we know about Aonir? A very long time ago, he came to Io, tamed the primal elements on it, after which he called his children, the Guardians there, to watch over his work until the end of time. And there's this misconception that Aonir created the Guardians after he tamed the elements on Io. That's not true. It's mentioned a few times in the games and in an official short story that Aonir called them to Io from their home, so they existed before Io as well. They weren't created just for the purpose of protecting Io, but I digress, I just wanted to clear that up. In any case, the Guardians each got their tasks, and Arian, the Guardian of Knowledge, had the particular task of writing down all the events that happened on Io from then until Aonir's return. Aonir would then read that book to learn about the history of the world he created. So, the theory is basically that us playing the games, SpellForce 1 and 2 specifically, is actually Aonir reading the chapters of the book that Arian wrote, like the chapter about the Battle of Fiora, the Rune Wars, the Shadow Wars, and so on. Aonir is pretty much experiencing those events through the stories Arian wrote, which could also potentially explain certain gameplay elements, like us being able to switch between the top-down isometric view and third person. The fact that the quest books in both SpellForce 1 and 2 often give us information that our avatar, the protagonist of the story, would have no idea of knowing at that moment, or maybe that we mostly only ever see portals that are relevant to the story we're in, with all the unnecessary ones being omitted. They are still there. Characters in the games mention and reference them, like a connection between Northander and the High Mark in the Order of Dawn, but since our story doesn't go there, they aren't present. It might also explain why the story is fairly linear in its nature. It has a start and an end point that we go to, with some side quests in between, sure, but you always move along the same events pretty much. Again, this is just a theory, and it's not a bulletproof one by any means. You could argue that the story often varies depending on how we skill our character, or what side quests we choose to do or choose to not do, but I still think that it's plausible to some extent, and that it's interesting to talk about. It puts Aonir, the creator of Io, closer to the player, with the notion that we are, in fact, Aonir, and we are just learning about the history of our world. Of course, this also comes with a somewhat sad realization that if Aonir is reading this, that means that Io doesn't exist anymore. It has reached the end of time, and life on it has perished, but it's somewhat bittersweet in my opinion, because we know that Io will reach that point at some time in the future. It's not a shock, and we still don't know how far into the future that will be. It could be 1,000 years from now, or maybe 1,000,000. We simply don't know, but that's what makes it interesting. And it begs the question of how many other stories Arian has collected in his book over the millennia. But I want to know your thoughts on this. Do you think this could actually be plausible, or am I just talking out of my arse right now? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any other theories about the world of SpellForce, leave them below as well. I'd love to cover them in the future. And with that, thank you so much for watching this video, like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.